Hello and welcome. So today I am going to be doing a logo redesign for this company called Her Roofing, and following this I'll do a quick redesign of the hero section on their landing page just to help everything line up with the new logo design. But first, I'd like to just give a little bit of background on Her Roofing. So Her stands for honesty, equity, and respect. These all reflect Her Roofing's core values. It is a 100% woman-owned business. So Her Roofing looks to be a very customer-focused company, focusing on picking the best roof style, color that will increase their customers' curbside appeal and also provide long-lasting protection on their most significant investment, their home. So moving into the design side of things. First begin looking at what font I'd like to use for the logo. The original logo on the left uses a sans serif font, and that is something I'd like to maintain, but look at something that's a bit stronger and a bit more bold, as this will help them to stand out a little bit more and is likely a little more reflective of the construction industry. So here I'm looking at some slab serifs as well, as I feel these would be quite reflective of that kind of lumber or like heavy weighted materials that would be used in the construction industry. I think I found some nice options here for the primary font, so now I'm going to start looking at a secondary font that will be used for the roofing text. Now looking at these three different options and deciding on which one we might go ahead with. So the top one I feel like I am instantly most drawn to. I really like the weight of the font. I think it would work really well in a construction setting. It would be legible from a distance, which would be really important, and also legible on a website or an app should that happen in the future, which is really important for a modern business. So this is the one I am going to progress with. So now I started working on an icon for the logo. I took the first letter H and began to build that into the shape of a house or a roof even, as this was in the original logo and likely something that would be nice to maintain. It's also reflective of the services the business provides. When developing an icon like this, I think it's great to use a form from the primary font, as it'll naturally tie in with the width of that font and just help everything to look a little more cohesive. I began to play around with the layout and colors. Blue was one of the colors that was used in the original logo, so it might work here, but I wanted to try a few more options, so this orange began to feel quite good. I think it's also relevant to the construction industry and should stand out quite well. The icon I felt at this stage wasn't really working, so I decided to go ahead and incorporate that little house symbol into the H. Overall, I feel like this was a very effective solution to the original logo, and incorporating that little house symbol into the H kind of helps to simplify everything and build it all into one cohesive shape. I also rounded the edges on the letter forms just to give a bit more softness and a sense of friendliness to the overall look and feel of the logo. So yes, I'm pretty happy with how this all came together. Now moving on to their website. So this is their current homepage, and it has a lot of information, so it could be potentially a bit confusing for a customer when they first land on the page. I believe that's a contact form on the right and a about us call to action button, so they're asking people to do a lot of different things all at once. So here I might recommend focusing on the primary goal with the website, which is likely to build leads and make some connections. So I'm going to look at maybe taking away that contact form and placing a button there instead that will just allow people to jump straight to a lead form. The image use is actually really nice, but it unfortunately does not contrast well with that text. So for accessibility purposes, it would not be a very functional image. It's quite hard to read that white copy there on top of that image. And yeah, the navigation looks quite cluttered, so I would like to simplify that and give users a few less links that could potentially be brought in throughout the rest of the website at different locations, rather than everything being all at once up in the top bar. So I'll jump into the redesign. I wanted to first get the logo in place, set up some guides, and then start looking for an image that would lend itself well to placing some headline copy, but also be quite simple enough that it's digestible for the customers as a land on the page. So there's a few options here. I'm starting to think about maybe a roof would look good, as that would be very relevant to the company. This is the one that I landed on, as I feel it's quite dynamic and has that nice angle to it, which I think will work well when adding in some headline copy and sub copy. There'll also be a nice bit of space for the navigation, which is going up now in the top right. So I'm using quite a few less links here, as I was saying, but each link will be able to serve its purpose and have a drop down. So this will compensate for a more simplified approach. Now I'm looking at adding in the headline, Build a Roof That Lasts. I felt was quite a eye-catching headline, and grabbing some sub-copy just to describe a little bit of the about of the company. Adding in a stroke there underneath last just to emphasize that. And adding in the call to action button to book a consultation. This saves a lot of space and should be a lot more straightforward for customers to simply click on the button and it'll take them straight to that page. Begin making some adjustments to the background of the navigation just to help that stand out a little bit more and give it a place to be framed within. I then adjusted the headline to read "We build a roof that lasts." I felt this had a bit more connectedness to it, using the word "we." This is the before and the redesign. So I feel this is a lot simpler to process and easier to read, easier on the eye. It has a nice vibrancy to it and feels like a solid company that you could really trust, which I think would be very important for this kind of industry. Also, the simplified use of the call to action button rather than using a large contact form, and the simple navigation, which takes people to all the different places they need to go. So overall, yeah, really happy with this between the logo and this little hero section redesign. Let me know what you think and I'll be making more videos soon. Thanks very much.